Hi everybody, Patrick here from EngineeringShock.com, PaintballProps.com, and EscapeRoomElectronics.com. This is project number 9 for the Arduino PLAYBOT. The Kickstarter campaign is linked below. While this is a continuation of project 8, which is also linked below, we're going to set this up again. Now this is going to be a prank project. We're going to program in the power button to our Arduino PLAYBOT for our TV. And what we're going to do is we're going to retransmit that same signal every time someone passes in front of the PIR motion sensor. So first of all, let's set it up. For this project, we are using the cell button, no setup there, the selection button rather. We're going to use the infrared transmitter, the infrared receiver, and so we need to turn on the IRX dip switch and the ITX dip switch. And we also need to turn on all of the LCD enable lines, which are controlled by GPIOs 4 through 9. And we're also, at least temporarily, going to turn on the software control for the backlight, which is dip switch 1 on the LCD control dip switch. A quick edit, I've actually turned the ECH and the TRG pins to the off position, and the IRX and ITX to the on position. We're going to connect our 3-pin cable with red on the 5-volt line here, black to the AD line, and white to the GD line. And we're going to connect it to the PIR sensor like so. Now before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about this, a little bit about the infrared transmitter and receiver. I'm going to show you some oscilloscope plots in just a second. But this is the infrared receiver, the infrared transmitter, and there are 2 pins here labeled ITX and IRX that you can actually probe if you'd like to see the signals on an oscilloscope. And we're going to do that right now. So this is what a data stream looks like from an infrared remote control. What it's doing is it's sending pulses at 38 kilohertz. So as you can see, this is just a thick stream of on-off pulses from the transmitter, the remote control, at a frequency of 38 kilohertz. And as you can see here, we're getting 38 kilohertz bursts, the pulse width duration of on-off dictates to the receiver, or rather the ATmega328PU chip, whether or not that bit is a 0 or a 1. And that's how we differentiate between all of the buttons. Now this isn't the entire data stream. This is just a little bit of the data stream coming from the remote, and that's because I wanted to give you a higher resolution look. So the receiver, what the receiver is going to see, and we're going to look at that in just a second, is the receiver output is normally at 5 volts. This is the 5-volt line, this is the 0-volt line. So when it receives a pulse, the output is just going to go from high to low, then back high again when there's no stream, then from high to low, and low to high. So we're going to see essentially the inverse of this. But what it's going to do is it's going to turn 38 kilohertz pulses into just on-off. And so this is what the receiver is seeing. It's changing those 38 kilohertz pulses into more or less on or off. And so this is the start bit, and so it's receiving that 38 kilohertz pulse, starting here, ending here, starting here, ending here, and so on throughout the data stream. So we're seeing the inverse. We're seeing the exact opposite on the receiver, and this is what is fed into the microprocessor. On power up, the software goes into a calibration state for the PIR sensor. This is just a fun addition. I've used this software in one of the previous projects. Again, if you pledge towards a Kickstarter campaign, all of these project code samples, fully commented, will be available to you at the end of the campaign. So once the output of the PIR sensor is low, and stable low, meaning it stays low for at least 10 seconds, and when you walk in front of it, it goes high like this, and then back to low again. Once that's stable, it's calibrated. And again, the PIR sensor should come to you fully calibrated, but on power up, it does take about 30 seconds to become stable. So I'm confident it's stable right now. It's aimed away from me. I'm going to press and hold the cell button. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the infrared remote control. I'm going to press the power button aiming at the infrared receiver, and when I press the button, signal received, transmit signal. So now every single time the PIR sensor picks up on human activity, it's picking me up at the moment. I'm staying still, it's not facing me anymore. The LCD will turn on and it will say transmit signal, like this. And so it's transmitting that signal on the infrared transmitter. Now, if I don't want, obviously this project is it's a prank, so we don't want for the people to see the LCD going off. We're going to turn the TV on and off when people walk in front to trigger the infrared sensor. So I'm going to turn. I can do this. I can program it out. But say I just want to turn the LCD off. I'm going to trigger it again. I don't want for the LCD to light up. I'm just going to turn the dip switch 1 off. And now it's still transmitting when it detects motion, but people aren't going to notice an LCD lighting up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this into the other room, and I'm going to program it with the on-off code again, and we're going to hide this, and I'll show you turning the TV on and off every time you walk in front of the PIR sensor. There's the PLAYBOT. There's my cat, and he's actually tripping it. That was the TV turning off. He was tripping the PIR sensor, which is kind of neat. So let me just show you the TV that's up there, and I'm just going to walk in front of the sensor. Bit of a mess down here. Excuse me. And it turned on. So now my cat's on top of the table again. Let's see what happens. Just listen for the TV. It's gonna keep transmitting with him right there. My kitten rather. He's sorry. I think I'm gonna keep this in the video because it's funny. Because he keeps tripping the TV. So this is not the intention of this specific prank. The cat doesn't care that the TV's turning on and off. And but just to give you an idea, it's going to pick up the infrared signals from living things, including cats. So he's knocked the PIR sensor away, but it's still picking his lower end up. Say hi, Kefka. Yeah, so that's the idea. The transmitter has a decent range on it, and and the cat is just here to ruin my video. Actually, I shouldn't say that. He's a good cat. So this is project number 9. Kind of a clumsy way to end the video, but it is pretty funny at the same time. The PR sensor has quite a range on it too, several meters. And so anyone who walks by, you can put this on a bookshelf. I could put it on my movie shelf, and that's relatively close to the TV. And as long as the power cord is hidden, no one's ever going to know. And you can also mount your PIR sensor as you see fit. So that's project number 9. Next we'll be working with the keypad, the external keypad. Again, if you haven't checked out the Kickstarter, it is linked below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend.